Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, it's February. It's Black History Month, and guess what? You are listening to Bras, Panties and Sports. I'm Split-Face. Please welcome our host, the First Lady of Sports Talk, Cheryl Smith. Good morning to you.
Good morning, good morning. Yes, it is Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to everybody.
Now, it may be, I don't want y'all to get confused. Every day is Black History. We just have a month to make it stand out a little bit. So, First Lady, I heard some white folks complaining, talking about when do they get their month. And I'm like, wait just a minute. Where are all these sensitive white folks coming? We need a white folks month. Wait. Y'all got the whole year. And if you in the great state of Florida, they eliminating anybody else.
Right. They don't want history. That's right. They eliminating Black history in the schools. Come on, Ron DeSantis.
We got to get rid of this, black folk learning about, but the real fear is not that black folk going to learn something. It's that young white folk going to learn something. Now, I got some bad news for you folks. There's this thing called the internet, and guess what? Young white kids go and find this. They interested. So you ain't going to be able to hide it. But we will move on because it's just been so exciting this past week. And firstly, I've been jumping up and down for the Pro Bowl. Ha ha, he wink wink. Okay. This week, shout out. We have music from Mak7Teen. Mak7Teen. Will he find his shining star or get the cold feel of the view? But First Lady, we're ready. What you saying?
Each week we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world. Not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something, so we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdie known as Kyrie Irving is flapping his wings because he wants to fly far, far away from the Brooklyn Nets. Should the Nets jump at the chance to get rid of Kyrie? Are the Nets better or worse without Kyrie? And who they might get in a trade? Since Kyrie is demanding the trade, does that lower what the Nets can get in return? Is it starting to look like KD made a bad choice going to the Nets with Kyrie and the bearded one? Would KD have more rings if he had stayed with the Warriors? Marvelous Marvin Hagler, rest in peace, Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? Face, I said, I knew it was a little bit too calm in the Nets land. I just knew something was very calm about going on with the Nets. Kyrie Irving is a master of distractions. He likes to create distractions. I mean, what more can Kyrie do? After supporting the anti-Semitic documentary that had the Jewish community and the Nets organization upset, Kyrie all of a sudden decides to, move on from that, and he was playing really great basketball. The Nets were really winning, and then all of a sudden KD got injured, and for some reason when KD gets injured, that's when Kyrie starts acting a darn fool. Anyway, so that's when the storm happened. Kyrie and his agent, they decided that they could no longer negotiate with the Nets. Now, his agent is his stepmother, so just to let you know there's family ties there. And they had been trying to negotiate a new contract. Now, the Nets were willing to give Kyrie a new contract, but not at the max dollars that he wanted and the number of years he wanted. It's been reported also that the Nets wanted to tie his money to winning a championship. So there were a lot of stipulations in the contract that the Nets wanted to offer. Now, I don't blame Kyrie for rejecting a contract that is tied to a winning championship because one person doesn't win a championship. So I really feel that would have been a little bit difficult if your money is tied to you winning a championship. So he said he wants to be traded. He demanded that they trade him before the February 9th trade deadline. Now, if Kyrie Irving thinks he is entitled to a max contract, he is really delusional, okay? I don't see any team giving him a max contract because he's not reliable. So, therefore, the Nets need to just cut their losses and trade Kyrie for players that can help them now. I'm not taking any players with lefty contracts unless they are great players. Now, basketball-wise, the Nets are not better off without Kyrie because he is a perfect fit with KD and he's a perfect fit for the Nets team, basketball-wise. But organizational and their culture, they are better off without Kyrie. So that's a damn if you do and damn if you don't type of situation. Now, the question is, what trade works well for the Nets? I don't think because Kyrie wants to be traded, that will diminish his value because he's been balling. And teams who are in championship contention, they definitely could use Kyrie's services. I mean, it's just a matter of the fit for that team and the fit for the Nets, to be honest with you. So, I mean, there are teams out there that said they will sign him to a long-term deal, but not the max deal. I don't think any team is going to sign him to a max long-term deal. But, last season and during the offseason, Kyrie's value was very, very low. That's why he had to opt into his contract because he didn't have any leverage. He had problems. And, you would thought with the situation with that documentary that he would have more problems this time around. But no, because he was really on the court. When he was on the court, he was balling. Now, I think he still has a little leverage. Obviously, the Lakers want Kyrie, but are you really going to alienate KD and pair him with Russell Westbrook again? I don't think so. So that's the reason why, to me, the Lakers are really not in this scenario to get Kyrie Irving. The only way they can get Kyrie Irving, they're going to have to give the Nets Anthony Davis. That is the only way they can get Kyrie Irving because they don't want Russell Westbrook. And if they don't want Russell Westbrook, who else on the Lakers team? They don't have anybody that the Nets want. So to me, they're not even in it. Now, there's talks about the Heat swapping Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson. Now, why do you think the Nets want Kyle Lowry, who is due over $30 million the next year? He has one more year left, I believe, on his contract for $30 million. Now, hey, it's a possibility, but Kyle Lowry is not the player that he used to be. He's not at that level anymore. So I think the only team that really could be the best trade partners for the Nets is the Phoenix Suns because I believe they have young assets. They got Aiden, they got Mikal Bridges, they got Cam Johnson, and they also got Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul has a hefty contract. He has more years left on his $30 million contract than Kyle Lowry, but guess what? Chris Paul is the quintessential point guard. Can you imagine CP3 with the Nets, KD? I mean, to me, he would be perfect for the Nets. So that's a contract that if I'm the Nets, I would be willing to take on because it actually matches the length of KD's contract. And CP3 still got a lot left in him. I think he would definitely fit better with the Nets from a cultural and organizational and for on the court. He's not, now get me wrong, he's not Kyrie Irving, but like I said, he's a floor general, and I think that's what the Nets need. Now, Kevin Durant is definitely going to be the X factor in this Kyrie situation. How would he respond? Every GM in the league is definitely keeping an eye on the KD situation because, they would prefer KD over Kyrie. Now, it depends. KD already decided he wanted to get traded, then he reneged on being traded, and he worked things out. But that's when he thought Kyrie was going to stay. Now, it's funny to know whether or not Kyrie discussed this with KD. A lot of people feel that he wouldn't have done this without discussing it with KD, but rumors that came out that KD was blindsided by Kyrie's request to leave. But, it's KD. KD decided he was going to leave the Golden State Warriors to go to Brooklyn. You remember, I always say this, I'm going to rub it in. He didn't want to come to the Knicks because he said the Knicks were whack organization. Well, I don't know any whacker organizations than the Brooklyn Nets at this point in time because you decided that you were going to go join Kyrie Irving, who is so unpredictable is the word. You don't know what Kyrie's going to do. And yes, you made a mistake. You should have stayed with Curry and the Warriors because if you had stayed with Curry and the Warriors, you would have been in a dynasty by now. And that's it. I mean, period. You haven't won a championship in what, 4 years now? I think he's been with the Nets for 4 years. Well, you haven't won a championship with the Nets. You haven't even sniffed close enough to a championship. So, yeah, he made the wrong mistake. Definitely, he should have stayed with the Warriors. All right, Spitface, what you talking about?
Oh, KD. The long one, the Slim Reaper looks like he made a bad choice. Yeah, when you look at it, First Lady, the Warriors were competitive after KD left, but they were hurting. Steph was kind of injured. He could play, but he was injured, and you could tell. And the other Splash brother was injured. KD had the perfect opportunity to really be the man on that team. And the thing about Steph and his partner in crime, they were willing to let KD have a spotlight. They were willing. They wanted rings. They were like, look, we can have a dynasty. We can have rings. I don't care if KD gets the MVP. I just want to win, and I'm going to get mine. Now, so he was on a team where he had people who were unselfish. Fast forward to the Nets. He's on a team where I won't say everybody is selfish, but between him, Harden, and Kyrie, there was a lot of selfishness going on. They had enough selfishness for everybody else on the team. So I believe that if KD had stayed with the Warriors, they would have won 2 more rings. They would have won 2 more rings with KD. So that was just as things turn out, First Lady, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I think you was right. He should have went to the Knicks if he was gonna make that kind of move. And because the wacko birds over in Brooklyn, they did their thing. But I'm not sure which team. The thing about Kyrie is this is a case of you got talent, the man can ball, but you said one word, unreliable. You just don't know where he gonna be at, what he gonna do, what he gonna concentrate, how he gonna focus. I don't blame Kyrie for going, hey, I don't want my money tied to if we win a championship, if we do this, because it's a team sport. I'm not the only person out here, playing. I got other players. So what are they doing? So that would just be a mess. And if you thought he was unreliable before, he accept that kind of deal, he'd be really unreliable. So if I'm a team looking at Kyrie, it really is like, yeah, But what if he the next week is unhappy with something? I don't get that Kyrie is the kind of player who's like poisonous in the locker room. It's just that, like the other players, gets into it with them. But I do get that other players, they want to know you're going to be there. That's the thing. It's a team game. Are you really going to be there? Now, we get you want your money, you want this, but are you going to be there? So once the money is settled, you got your contract, are you going to show up? And the thing with Kyrie is that you just don't know. When he want to turn it on, he turn it on. When he don't want to turn it on, he turn it off. So you just don't know. I'm looking at the Nets, and it's like, whatever trades you make, I hope you get some good draft picks because it's starting to look like the KD experiment. It's time to blow that sucker up and start regrouping. Let KD go on to his next team, and and go from there. Now, LeBron was asked about Kyrie coming to the Lakers, and his response was, duh. But I'm going, Now, I think LeBron says that more so because a lot of nonsense, he can talk to Kyrie. He is, this is my team. I run the show here. Kyrie get in line. And Kyrie would listen to LeBron. And so I think that's where LeBron is coming from. But you know how like your little brother grow up on you, and there's that point where your little brother don't listen to you no more. Now, when Kyrie and LeBron were playing for the few years they played, they were the number one two person in the league. Their combination was outscoring everybody. So by a lot of points. So, I look at it as, okay, but that was then. Now, that ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. Kyrie is doing his thing. He hanging out with the space lasers. So it's like, okay, his whole point was showing that he could be the man. And that just never materialized. I don't get him going to the Lakers. Talent-wise, on paper, it's going to help the Lakers out. But you just don't know. And then for the Nets, like you said, Russell Westbrook, no, they ain't making that deal. But Anthony Davis, now we go from unreliable to street clothes. We going from unreliable to street clothes. Now street clothes, I gotta wonder about street clothes. How reliable is street clothes gonna be? Is he gonna be, I go, not mentally, is he physically gonna be there? That's the thing about street clothes. You just don't know what he's gonna do. So, First Lady, I'm like, it's a mess. But one thing is for sure, the Nets, whatever deal they make, it's time to let Kyrie go and go fast. That's all I'm saying.
Well, unfortunately, the Nets really need to get somebody to go along with Kevin Durant, because even if they try to blow that situation up, they don't have any draft picks. If you remember, they gave up all their draft picks to get James Harden to the Houston Rockets. The Nets again. They can't blow it up.
Been from the Texans.
They can't blow it up, so that's why they need to get somebody to help with Kevin Durant. While they have Kevin Durant for about I forgot how many, 2 more years, because 4 more years, because he signed up on the he's now playing on his extension. But anyway, it's a mess. It's a mess in Brooklyn. So we'll see how this continues. The trade deadline is February 9th, next Thursday, or actually this Thursday, we'll see how it goes. If Kyrie is still on the team, and it's a possibility he can still be with the Nets. Anyway. All right, Spitface, over to you.
An unhappy world warrior. I'm going to knock you out. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years rocking my peers and putting suckers in bed, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion overpowering over the competition. I'm towering. Wrecking shop when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest that'll all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out, huh? Mama said knock you out, huh? We are talking about the knockout punches two players are trying to throw in NBA games. Dylan Brooks and Donovan Mitchell got into a tussle during the game. Dylan got a suspension, and so far Donovan has been fined $20,000. The same week, the Magic and Timberwolves got into a brawl, and 5 players were ejected. Are the players simply being competitive and getting a little out of hand? Does the NBA need to start worrying about the players hurting each other and the NBA viewership? Leroy Satchel Paige, Walter Buck Leonard, and James Cool Papa Bell are asking what you saying. First Lady, we do not want the NBA to turn into the old NHL. And it's sort of like the old joke used to be, I went to a hockey game. I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. You know? And part of me thinks that the NBA needs to maybe give out a little stiffer punishments, because I think these players are really, really competitive, and it is getting a little out of hand, not a lot out of hand, not where everybody needs to, oh no, they're just fighting all the time, but if you don't nip it in the bud, it's going to expand. And when somebody's making $5 million, $10 million, $20,000, it's $20,000, but it ain't gonna break their stride. And some of the, I mean, they actually throwing punches at each other. They throwing real punches at each other. And here you got the Magic, and you got you got 5 players ejected. You got Austin Rivers and Mo Bamba, and then I'm going, isn't Mo Bamba like a big old center? I mean, they throwing real punches. You go, whoa, what is all of this? So I think the NBA is going to have to give out some stiffer punishment and make those, because I don't think you get paid when you're suspended. So that when you get in the wallet, that can tone you down, but also it's not good for the NBA for that to happen. It really isn't good. People love the competitiveness, but you don't want folks crossing that line. And as far as I can tell, most of it is from jaw jacking. They jaw jack it and get upset. And I go, come on, man. When Shaq and was playing, was on the Bulls. Oh my God, Hall of Famer from the Bulls. When he would play him, and the name would come to him, he would do every little dirty thing he could do to Shaq that he could get away with. And Shaq said he would want to turn around and just slug him. And he, but it was legal. He could get away with it. He knew how to put his elbow waiting to the right part of the Shaq's back to, but not get called for a penalty. He said, man, that would frustrate you. You want to beat his ass. But it wasn't because of jaw jacking. These guys jaw jacked themselves into a fight. And I'm like, come on, man. And First Lady, what you say?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, Spitface, I was very surprised.
Dennis Rodman. I was trying to think of who that was.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest with you, I was very surprised regarding the recent fighting in the NBA because, I mean, so many of these players are really good friends with each other. Some of the altercations were the result of dirty plays. Dylan Brooks hitting Mitchell in the private area. Now, that's a rule breaker with players.
Right.
And Brooks has been tagged as a dirty player anyway. And we went through this you remember Draymond Green was kicking people in their private areas. He did it LeBron in the finals. But the situation with Mo Bamba's situation, he was on the bench. That's what I don't understand about that fight. He was sitting on the bench and jumped into the game and fought Austin Rivers. So like you said, you wonder what was being said. And, I mean, supposedly they said Mo Bamba, I think Austin Rivers missed the three-pointer and Mo Bamba said this ain't high school or something like that. But I can't understand why that would start a fight. So obviously something was said. Now, the NBA did come down very hard on Mo Bamba. He was suspended for 4 games. Rivers was suspended for 3 games, and Jalen Suggs was suspended for 1 game. So, I mean, in the Dylan Brooks situation, he only got suspended for 1 game, and Mitchell was fined, I think, $20,000. So, to me, the only worry for the NBA at this point in time is that they could never, never again have the malice at the palace. So, as long as the fighting stays on the court, I don't think there's nothing to worry about right now. Because let's face it, compared to the 80s and 90s, there really haven't been an issue with fighting in the current NBA. Because those old school athletes used to fight all the time. Now, these new school athletes, like I said, they got this brotherhood on the court. Matter of fact, some of the athletes from the 80s and 90s, they don't like the fact that they're always fawning each other and always dapping each other, exchanging each other's jerseys. Old school athletes don't do all that. I remember when the Knicks used to play the Heat. Patrick Ewing and Alonzo Mourning, they were very, very good friends. And Riley, he would never let Alonzo go out to dinner before games with Patrick. That was a no-no with Riley. So, like I said, these new school athletes, they're not really hating on each other the way they used to do in the 80s, 90s. So I just think there's a couple of isolated incidents that really has happened recently that has caused all of this fighting. And, again, I mean, people may say that the NBA needs to be concerned because it will hurt their brand. And I'm not trying to bring race into this situation, but let's face it, they fight all the time in hockey, and they fight in the NFL. So why is basketball being considered so differently? It is a physical sport. Obviously, it's not as physical as hockey in the NFL, but it is a physical sport. So when people are physical with each other, let's face it, fights happen. But I don't think it's at an alarming level. It's just that you recently had this year you had more fights than you've had in previous years. So, again, like I said, they need to maybe just watch it. I don't think it's going to be at a level that the NBA needs to be concerned with. Spitface. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Okay, First Lady says, don't worry about it.
They like each other too much.
I'm saying, come on, jaw jacking. Okay, First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from Mak7Teen on Shout Out Part 1.
Back attack. Welcome back. The music flows in from around the globe to get a shout-out from the panel. First lady, I can't wait to hear the music from Mak7Teen.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout-out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today we are featuring Mak7Teen from Sacramento. They say Mak7Teen is a powerful hip-hop artist with the voice to match. With his explosive yet laid-back style, Mak7Teen is most definitely familiar and comfortable in his craft. All right, let's hear Now or Never, the remix.
Yeah. Sometimes in your life you feel like now is the time to do it. If not, it just might never happen. And we can't have that. Jesus, face out. Head sweating from the work that's being put in. Never make time to lose, always plan to win. Properly place my steps and watch out for the fake grins. Shake the right hands and network with the right men. That's the way things work when you want to win. Don't have time to do, so I pursue being a businessman with a business plan. That's the upper hand we all need. I started my own and slapped Mak7Teen on everything. My name rings, but it's busy, cause your boy's off the hook. They thought they caught me slipping, take a look. My life story's an open book, I left them shook. I had bigger plans than being a crook. I embraced the name of the next man and still became the best man. I was bitter at first, turned to the streets and hung on the curb. I was making it worse, that's when I realized my time is running out. It's either now or never. Now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the boot straight to you. Now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the boot straight to you. Now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the boot straight to you. Now or never. It's either now or never. It's either now or never. That's what I told myself, and I'm way too clever. Gotta focus on the fortune, not the fame. Let success be the blame. They gon' hate and cross the game. That's what they do. Keep doing you, and I'm the proof that everything works itself out. Stay your route. Don't be the first to count yourself out. Quit blocking your blessings and stressing. You gon' black out. I'm trying to see my money rise, not cash out. Gotta focus on my health, that determines my wealth, and vice versa. I'm in the fast lane doing me, in a Mustang GT, pushing up to 160. Your busters couldn't catch me even if you were the police. I'm dipping through the city streets. Mak7Teen kills everything, it's called a takeover. Gotta come up with something clever, not me, I spit that truth that's bulletproof. Straight to the booth, that's what I do. It's either now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the booth. Straight to you, now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the booth. Straight to you, now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the booth. Straight to you, now or never. It's either now or never. It's either now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the booth. Straight to you, now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the booth. Straight to you, now or never. Gotta come up with something clever, what's better than spitting this truth in the booth. Straight to you, now or never. It's either now or never. It's either now or never. It's either now or never. Now or never. It's either now or never. It's either now or never.
All right. Okay, that's Mak7Teen. I'm gonna shout it out. His flow is good. I just thought the production of the track could have been a little bit better, but other than that, he got a good flow to his rapping. I was expecting, they said his voice, I thought he was going to do a little singing, and then maybe they were just talking about the powerfulness of his rap. So I'm going to shout it out. You shouting it out, Spitface, or you going to hit the mute?
I'm going to shout it out, and I'm pretty much where you are. The brother can rap. You know, he's got a flow. Don't particularly like the particular cut that he made. Maybe it was the remix, but I see some talent for it. He got some skills, so I'm shouting them out. Okay,
well, so on part 2 of Shout Out, we'll feature another track from Mak7Teen. Is that the sound of our favorite underwater friend? Is it time for Flip It?
They call me Flipper, faster than lightning. No one you see is smarter than me. And we know Flipper lives in a world full of wonders, flying there under the sea.
All right. It is time for Flip It, where our hosts defend a view and flip the script and defend the opposing view. Which team is a better fit if Derek Carr is traded, the 49ers or the Seattle Seahawks? Defend. Geno was a solid QB, but Derek would improve the Seahawks, and they would go further in the playoffs. Okay, First Lady, I actually think that Geno Smith deserves a big pat on the back, accolades. He really did a great job with Seattle, where nobody thought they were going to do anything. But Geno is limited. He is limited. He does not have that deep ball. He is, to me, he's an exceptional backup quarterback. Now, there's some teams he could start for, but not go anywhere with. So Geno lucked up and got in a situation in Seattle where he could show that, look, I deserve to be in the NFL. I can play, but he is not going to be in the top 10 quarterbacks. And Seattle could use a Derek Carr. Derek can throw that deep ball, open up that game, and they would go a lot further in any playoff having Derek Carr at the helm. First Lady, please defend. First Lady?
You're right. I guess I had to go silent on that one. But anyway, yes, Geno Smith definitely had a great season for the Seattle Seahawks. But they struggle in the playoffs. And Derek Carr, like you said, does have a much, much better arm than Geno Smith. And the other thing that Derek Carr can do well is he can get the ball out quickly, too. I find Geno Smith to be a little bit hesitant, and that's why he does run around a lot in that back, but he's a little bit hesitant to get that ball out. That's not Derek Carr. Derek Carr can definitely get the ball out, and like you said, he does have a better arm, which, he should be able to throw deep passes more than Geno Smith. Now, the 49ers and the Seahawks offenses are very similar. They both run West Coast offense. The 49ers is a little bit different type of West Coast offense than the Seahawks. Now, Derek Carr would succeed better with the Seahawks because my whole thing is there's less expectations for Derek Carr with the Seahawks, whereas there will be extremely big expectations with the 49ers. I don't think Derek Carr does well when he's having pressures. The problem with Derek Carr, he just couldn't win in the fourth quarter. So that's the pressure mounts on you, and I just think he will have pressure if he was with the 49ers. But when he's with the Seahawks, let's face it, they're not expected to win a Super Bowl, but the 49ers are. So I really think Derek Carr will do well with a change of scenery. A change of scenery will be with the Seahawks. Pete Carroll has already shown that he can work with anybody with minimal talent. Because let's face it, Geno Smith doesn't have the same talent as Derek Carr, and he made Geno Smith a pro pick this year. So I just think Derek Carr would bring much more to the Seahawks than Geno Smith, and Derek Carr will have less pressure playing with the Seahawks versus playing with the 49ers. That's it.
All right. This is Flip It, where we flip the script and defend the other point of view. Defend. Carr can throw the deep ball. That's all the 49ers need. First Lady, the 49ers, and this has been going on for a couple of years. They had Jimmy G. They had their first-round draft pick. They had Purdy. All these quarterbacks, and none of them could throw a deep ball. Jimmy G could throw a little bit of a deep ball, but Jimmy G he just kind of had that thing where he could win games. And so you like that because, everybody likes a winner. So you like that. But no one ever said that he is the threat. They got their first round draft pick, and he got hurt. They were going to bench Jimmy G. Now they got a rookie who did well, but he wasn't like scaring anybody. Even though he had great stats, he wasn't scaring anybody. All the 49ers need is Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr. And actually, Derek Carr would be the cheaper choice. And with Derek Carr on the 49ers, they got a guy that can throw that deep ball. They got McCaffrey. I mean, that's all they need. And tell me, going from Vegas to San Francisco wouldn't be like an easy transition for Mr. Carr. And some life blown, not that his career was teetering, but for him to move up to the next level, a quarterback, so he's in the top 10, but him to move up to maybe crack a number 5, the 49ers would be the perfect fit. That's all I'm saying, First Lady.
All right. Well, Derek Carr would be a better fit with the 49ers. They just need a reliable quarterback, like you said, that can throw the deep ball occasionally. Now, Kyle Shanahan offense is a West Coast offense, but it is a little bit altered because it also relies on a running game. Now, and his offense also includes a lot of bootlegs. So that really would make Derek Carr special with the 49ers because, Derek Carr can throw short, precise passes. He's a better fit because Carr has excellent mobility, and he's great with rolling out and passing the ball passing the ball as he rolls out. And another thing, he has a quick release. Those are Carr's strengths. And all of that really is very perfect for the type of offense that Shanahan runs. And like you said, every once in a while, he doesn't need to always throw the deep ball like a Patrick Mahomes. He just needs to be able once in a while to throw the deep ball. And Derek Carr can do that. But the basis of that offense really is being able to roll out and throw quick passes and get the ball out to a lot of their tight ends. They are heavily, they heavily rely on their tight end for offense. And those are big targets. And Carr, when he has to throw reliable passes, short passes, he's very accurate. Now, sometimes he can be a little bit inaccurate when he got to throw a deep pass. But like I said, this offense, you don't need to throw that many deep passes. You just have to be able to throw the deep pass, and he can do that. So I just think the 49ers offense is good for Carr, and it's going to give him a goal. It is a lot of pressure to play for the 49ers because they are one quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl. So this is something that would be great for Carr, and, it's something he needs to let people know that he is a winning quarterback. He's a winning quarterback. Up until not even last year, the year before, he had not won a playoff game, I believe, for the Raiders. And he finally got to the playoffs, but he lost. Last year, they didn't even get to the playoffs, so things kind of went backwards for Carr. So he needs a new location. He can stay on the West Coast, and that's another good thing. He can still be close to his family. So the 49ers are the right move for Derek Carr.
All right. Derek Carr to the 40. Now the 49ers might look up and get Aaron Rodgers, but Derek Carr wouldn't be a bad choice at all. And First Lady, I know everybody out here is going to love this reminder. Okay, so we're doing a little change of subject. And so I want everybody to know, to not forget, that 50 years ago, Schoolhouse Rock premiered. So to all you people who grew up with Schoolhouse Rock, it premiered 50 years ago today. And let's not forget, Conjunction Junction, what's your function? On the school, all right, see that on the Schoolhouse Rock. All right, First Lady, go ahead and take us to break.
Stay tuned. Up next, butt kicking and our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2.
Conjunction Junction, Junction, what's your function? Hit it.
Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. Let's see what's happening on Butt Kicking, where we look at all things in the world of combat sports. Liam Neeson rips into Conor McGregor and MMA brands him leprechaun. Liam Neeson has launched an astonishing rant at little leprechaun Conor McGregor, whom he claims gives Ireland a bad name. The action star gave an interview to the Men's Health in which one question was posed over whether he watches the Notorious or MMA as a whole, the Sun reports. Pulling absolutely no punches, the Antrim native then tore into McGregor as well as the sport of mixed martial arts as a whole. Quote, UFC, MMA, premier promoter, I can't stand. That to me is like a bar fight, he said. I know the practitioners are like, no, you're wrong. The months of training we do, why don't you just grab a beer bottle and hit the other guy over the head? That's the next stage of the UFC. I hate it. Woo! What do you think about that, Spitface?
Well, let me tell you, little lass. When we were on the farm in Arkansas, many a day we saw a beer bottle get thrown about and hit someone upside their head. It was no greater fun than watching the lads go at each other with beer bottles and and corn husks. I'll just say that Lynn has, in some ways, he has a point. Now, this is nothing against MMA. It's entertaining. I've seen some really great fights. It's rough. It's tough. But when he says, there's a point when he says that, what's next? And I think that what's next is the new the sport of slapping someone in their face. And that is now on I forget which network is broadcasting it, but it's sort of like,
I think it's Fox, isn't it? Fox?
It may be Fox. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's why I didn't say. But it's on, and I don't know how the ratings are doing. How well it's being received. But I think Leon that's the next. Yes, that's the next. And we might get to the beer bottle fights because it looks like whatever can titillate and tantalize. They don't go there. Now, I'm not in I am not into the slap someone. I do not think that that's a actual competitive sport. The key word is sport. Boxing is not stand there and let me see if I can knock you out. Okay, now you take a punch, see if you can knock me out. No, it's a sport. There's strategy. There's, not just the preparation. You got to know the preparation. Who am I fighting next? What's their style of fighting? It's a lot of work you have to put in. And I say the same with the mixed martial art, the UFC. These guys, they got moves. You can be flipped to the ground and in a chokehold in a blink. So they got skills. But I think that he's leaning into, okay, now we got the slap. Well, go ahead and just have a beer bottle, fight contest. And, let's get back to the P.T. Barnum days. It's kind of what he's saying. So if the next stage is more slapping people in the face and stuff like that, then Leeson is right. But if they kind of tone that down, I think everything will be all good. What you saying, First Lady?
Okay, well, you know what? It was TBS that is going to be aired on, and your Irish accent was actually quite well. and to be honest with you, Conor McGregor does look like a leprechaun.
Wait, no one has seen a leprechaun.
Well, the ones that they make characters out of. The ones that they make characters out of. The ones that they make characters out of. But, but to be honest with you, I think UFC is a little bit more skilled than some of the other MMA companies like Bellator. And there's a whole bunch of different not UFC, but MMA leagues out there, because I know my son, he only deals with the UFC. He does not deal with any other, he does not watch any other MMA fighting but the UFC, because he said the other ones are a joke. So, I mean, maybe that's where Liam Neeson was really referring to. But I had to watch that slapping contest, though.
Oh, no, I don't like it at all.
But anyway, it's time for our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It. D'Amico Ryans was hired by the Texans as their new head coach, and they may even acquire a black OC as offensive coordinator. Does this demonstrate a new day in the NFL and that a black man can get a legitimate shot at the top job? Panel defend. Yes, the cream rises to the top, and it's all about winning. It's a new day in the NFL. Spitface defend.
Oh, yeah, now. That's right. Black coaches just sprouting up all over the place. Now, it is especially when you're looking at that D'Amico is going to the Texans, it has to be a new day. It has to be a new day for the Texans to actually hire a third black man as a head coach. So they had to be some shaking up in the mindset of the owners and management that would happen. And even though now you still got to have credentials up the gazoo, but as any black professional that, and I'm not talking about today, I'm talking about go back 10, 20, 30 years ago, talent will rise to the top. And because there's a point where winning or producing, getting the result is more important than the color of that person's skin. And, football, baseball, basketball, it took years for where they're at today, but they got there. So right now, if you're looking at it in the NFL, it's still predominantly, white head coaches. That's just how it is. And there's a shot. More and more owners, they're looking at, are you going to win for me? I don't care, because winning produces money. And when it comes to the dollar bill, we want who's going to bring in the money. And black players are popular amongst the masses, and there's starting to be an awareness that a lot of these black offensive coordinators, and that's where the growth started happening. More men of color got opportunities to be offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, receivers coaches. They started and so now it's starting to bear some fruit. And unfortunately, guys like Lovie Smith, I won't say they came too early, but they were the icebreakers. They were the ones who, y'all the first ones on the firing line. And some of them, they went to the worst teams with the worst management and got the least amount of rope to build. D'Amico got a 6-year contract. So that right there, helps say, look, we invested in you for the long haul. First Lady, this in.
Well, well, you just said what you said. I agree with you. D'Amico Ryans was able to dictate his own terms. That's what it's all about as a black coach, having the same opportunities as your white counterparts. And he could dictate what he wanted. And like you said, the Texans were actually they're the first team in history to hire 3 consecutive black coaches. So they are setting an example. Now, of course, we know what they did with a couple of the black coaches, unfairly firing them. But hopefully they gave them 6 years, so they must be going to give D'Amico Ryans a chance. Now, like you said, there's not plenty of them, but the way to being a head coach, you need to be either offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator, and D'Amico Ryans was a defensive coordinator, and that's how he was able to get that head coaching job because he did such an excellent job. Todd Bowles was a defensive coordinator, and that's how he was able to get the job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, there's been several black offensive coordinators, and some of them were able to get jobs, but they didn't last long. But also, I've noticed, too, the NFL has hired 7 black GMs. Now, as a general manager, you're in the position to hire black coaches. So the Browns have Andrew Berry. The Dolphins have Chris Greer. Martin Mayhew was hired by the Washington Commanders. Terry Fontenot, I can't pronounce his name, but he's hired by the Falcons. And Brad Holmes was hired by the Detroit Lions. The Bears last year hired Ryan Poles. And the Vikings have added Quasi Adolfo Mensah. I apologize if I butcher your name. So it is becoming a new day in the NFL. We're starting to see more African Americans hired as coaches, hired in general manager positions. The more you put in general manager positions, hopefully they'll hire black coaches. So I think there is a new day in the NFL. However, we're going to flip this script. Panel defend. Glad D'Amico got a 6-year contract so he can get paid. This ain't a new dawn and a new day. Spit-face defend.
I think there's a little bit more there.
Oh, I'm sorry. There is a little bit more there. I don't know. Okay. All right. This ain't a new dawn. This ain't a new day. Oh, okay. Like Stevie Wonder sang, but we are sick and tired of hearing your song telling how you are going to change right from wrong. Because if you really want to hear our views, you haven't done nothing. All right. Sit, face, defend.
You haven't done nothing. I'm glad that there has been some progress. But until I see a black head coach paired up with a black quarterback playing against another black head coach with a black quarterback, and it doesn't have to be black, I'll just say a quarterback of color and a head coach of color going head to head in the Super Bowl, you ain't done nothing. We still got a long way to go. So when I see that, that's when something has been done. But it is a good start, especially that the Bears hired the team president of the Bears is a person of color. I'm going, the Bears? They might just do something. But still, overall, you haven't done nothing.
All right.
That's all I'm saying, First Lady.
Haven't, like you said, Stevie Wonder said, you haven't done nothing. And it's nice to see black coaches and black GMs hire. I mean, it's still a major problem. 50% of the players are black. And you know what? That number is even decreased because it used to be, at one time, it was 70%, but now I see it's only 58% of the players are black. But only 10% of the coaches are black, and over 20% of the GMs are black. So we still got a long ways to go. The Rooney Rule really has been, to be honest with you, not effective in having these owners to really hire black coaches. Where it's to me, we should not have to use the Rooney Rule. It should be somewhere black people should be always considered for these coaching jobs. And, just to have people interview for the sake of passing the Rooney Rule, it's becoming a joke. I mean, I don't know if you heard recently, Eric Bieniemy had been interviewed, I think it was like 15 times. He had been interviewed 15 times and has never gotten a head coaching job. And that's a joke. To me, if somebody calls me for the Rooney Rule interview, I would tell them go to hell. That's what I would say. I'm being honest. I wouldn't do it. I mean, if you being used just to pass that Rooney Rule. So, it is sad. So, we still got a long ways to go for this to be significant where black coaches, black GMs are just routinely hired. See, that's the key to me. It just needs to be routinely done without any question. So anyway, Spitface, please take us to break.
Yeah, when it started looking like the NBA, that might be a little more accurate. On the other side of the break, we have another performance from Mak7Teen on Shout Out Part 2. Please stay tuned.
music flows from around the globe to get a shout-out from the crew. Spitface, over to you.
All right. It looks like we have another track by Mak7Teen, and the name of the track, we ended up having to switch tracks as it seemed like there was a technical difficulty. But the track we're going to hear is Real Life. DJ, let's hear some Real Life.
G's up. TMF. They can feel the pain with every word that I write. Real life, bring the game back to life. Can you feel the pain with every word that I write? Real life, bring the game back to life. They can feel the pain with every word that I write. Real life, bring the game back to life. Can you feel the pain with every word that I write? Real life, bring the game back to life. Speeding on the highway, gotta do it the flyway. Better be my way. Saturday to Friday, highly recommended. Got the head spinning. This the feeling when you're winning, we in motion. My devotion is the potion. I came across this notion while surfing in the ocean. Crabs in the bucket, sinking in the sand, washed up. I don't have to front, I'm just being me for what I see. The images of wannabes with no substance. I've been convinced it's up to me to bring it all back. The content of rap been watered down and turned into a slugfest. I know I'm guilty of letting my anger get the best of me, so I take deeper breaths and different steps. This ain't a confession, it's pent up aggression being put in the lyrics so you can hear the growth. As I explode upon this mic, bringing it back to life with every word I write. Real life. They can feel the pain with every word that I write. Real life, bring the game back to life. Can you feel the pain with every word that I write? Real life, bring the game back to life. They can feel the pain with every word that I write. Real life, bring the game back to life. Can you feel the pain with every word that I write? Real life, bring the game back to life. How did we lose sight of the real fight? To keep it G and stay hater free. Now they embrace the false face and speak down on the real G's. I'm really not pleased by the moves that's being made, so I go my own way. Laying down my own road, traveling in my avatar, telling her where to go and who not to trust. We linked up, my time is now, G's up. Paced out, we're beast, bruh. It ain't over till we all eatin'. We bringing it back to where we all started. Nothing but pure artistry, putting in the lyrics. I know they can hear it each time we spit it. I don't have to curse to get my point across. I spit it raw when I move my jaws. Add it within the thoughts that I jotted down to a funky sound. That's how we make hits. Don't never forget to watch the ones who claim to be but really aren't. They'll tear everything apart to start their own, or even worse, work for the next. I know I'm blessed, that's why I flow the way I do. To keep the listeners like, ooh, who the hell is this? How did we miss them? Caught up in the mainstream addiction, avoiding convictions, but now I'm focused on the goal ahead of me, building up the music family worldwide, independently. They can feel the pain with every word that I write. Real life, bring the game back to life. Can you feel the pain with every word that I write? Real life, bring the game back to life. They can feel the pain with every word that I write. Real life, bring the game back to life. Can you feel the pain with every word that I write? Real life, bring the game back to life.
All right, that was Real Life. It's the track getting a shout out of the mute button. First Lady, I like that track a lot better than the first one we heard. And, now I can kind of get some of the explosiveness. But a line that stood out for me was when he said, I don't need to cuss to make my point. And oftentimes, because I have to work with talent, and especially on the comedic side, and some of them think that the cussing makes the joke better or makes it more funny, when hey, if it's funny, it's funny. If it's funny, it is funny. You can, so oftentimes it seems like overabundance on the cussing and it just starts taking away. But at least
Right.
that's how it lands on me. That's how it lands on me. But Mak7Teen, you got some skills, boy. I'm shouting it out.
I'll actually, like you said, too, I'll shout it out because you're right. I did love this track much better than that first track. I just think everything was good on all cylinders regarding this track. And I thought the music, the singing to go with the rapping, I thought everything was great. I really kind of like that. So I'm definitely shouting it out. Definitely shouting it out.
All right. Okay, Mak7Teen. We're going to be looking to see you at the Grammys. Maybe not this year, but at some point. Okay, that is the end of shout out. If you like what you heard from Mak7Teen, check him out at mak7teen.com. That's MAK, the number 7, teen.com, and Old Grumpy Radio Network. If you would like to be heard or have any comments, please send your emails and tracks to talent@oldgrumpyradio.com. First Lady, back over to you.
It's time for the NFL Pigskin Picks. The picks, we go in week 22, the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl. We actually, it's this year is the first year, right? The first day doing flag football. They realized, that all of this hard hitting, it was a joke. So now they decided to go soft all the way. So now we're going to do flag football. So these are optional, the contestants. Like, we don't have to bet on anything. It is optional. So win, loss, $50 million, optional, AFC versus NFC. I said I wasn't going to I said I wasn't even going to participate in this. Oh! Before we even start, let's get to last week's results. I led the way with 300 million points. Spitface, you had 200 million points, and Dizzy Mac had 100 million points. The current standings, it's close. I am leading the way with 628.75 million points. Spitface, you're at 5,033.95. No, let me get this right. 533.95 million points, and Dizzy Mac has 154.8 million points. So it's optional. I'm going to take the AFC to win. Spitface, Dizzy Mac has the AFC. Spitface, are you participating?
Yeah, this is a tough one because the way that they're awarding the points, they're actually going to be 3 flag football games. And and then they had the skills competition, so the points kind of roll on up. And so I'm going to pass.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all for passing. All right, props, over, under, push. These are also optional. AFC combined passing yards, 300. 300. Dizzy Mac says over. Spitface, you passing or doing
I'm
this?
passing.
Okay, you passing all the way, okay. 300 yards. Can they get 300? I'm just trying to see. So combined passing yards, 300 yards. I'm going to take a shot at this one. I'm going to say over also. Spitface, you're passing. All right. And let's see. NFC combined passing yard, 250. Dizzy Mac has over. I just think it's going to be a barrage. So I'm going to say Dizzy Mac is over. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to say over. Spitface, passing or?
I'm passing.
You just passing everything. All right. You pass. All right. Now, AFC combined rushing yards, 100 rushing yards. I'm going to pass on the rushing yards.
I'm going to go with the 2 rushing yards, and
okay,
I'm going to say over for both of them.
You're going over for both?
Yep.
All right. Dizzy Mack has under for the AFC. I'm passing, Dizzy, and you have over. That's interesting that you feel the rushing is going to happen more than the passing. That's funny. Okay, so you have over, and NFC rushing yard over 125. I'm passing on that. Spitface has over, and you have over. Okay, so that's where we are with this.
So Dizzy has over as well. Okay.
Dizzy has over for the NFC combined rushing yard, but he has under for the AFC. Yeah, he has over for NFC, under for AFC, which is quite interesting. I'm passing on both of those. I think there's going to be an aerial show. All right. So we shall see how we do. It's close. I call this one of those. This is trap week. I really was going to pass on everything, but I just decided to go for it. Since I'm leading, and it's only 50 million, so who can say? All right. So let's move on. Spitface, what is your top story to watch this week?
Oh, I'm chomping at the bit. What the Nets gonna do with Kyrie?
Yeah, I mean, that
Will
is the top story.
Will he go to L.A.?
That is the top story. There's no doubt about that. That is the top story. I mean, I don't know any other story that's bigger than that. This week is the final week. Thursday is the trade deadline. But, now that Kyrie put his name in the boat, that is the big story. You would think the Super Bowl would be the big story this week. Well, actually, the Super Bowl is Sunday, so that's the beginning of the next week. But, no, Kyrie definitely is the big story this week. So I want to piggyback off of you on that one, Spitface. All right, celebrating women and Black History Month together, Nicole Lynn makes history as the first Black woman agent to represent an NFL quarterback in the Super Bowl. Congratulations, Nicole Lynn, for being Jalen Hurts' agent. I think I had mentioned her before, of all the Black women that's in the NFL, positions with the NFL. But, congratulations. That is a milestone. So, hey, she's representing Jalen Hurts as the first Black woman agent to represent an NFL quarterback in the Super Bowl. All right, join us as we honor our veteran women and veteran women with disabilities. To learn more, please visit honorourveteranwomen.com, honorourveteranwomen.com. Check out our current and previous episodes at Panties and Sports.com and our Facebook page, BPN Sports. This is Cheryl Smith, the First Lady of Sports Talk, and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. And it's a wrap. See you next week.